All right. I think we are live, Lexi.
Awesome. Yep, I see the live in the corner. What up, everybody? Long time no see. We're back at it again with another help desk episode. We're actually having this help desk episode be a little bit different than the ones in the past. We are going to do a little bit more of a deep dive than we usually do into one specific topic. And that topic is actually going to be the sync school. And we're talking a lot more about the previous session that we hosted and kind of just getting to the nitty gritty of how it all works. You know, a nice little recap and review, as I'm sure the title says. Um, but yeah, I know I'm really excited about it. John, how you feeling?
I am really looking forward to not only talking about this, but the next group for the sync school. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be, the first one was so much fun and we could talk about that. But yeah, glad to be here and look forward to this conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. I'm gonna share out our link a little bit. Just so that I know I shared it a bunch on Instagram and everything. Speaking of which, if
Yeah.
y'all are not following us on Instagram, that is the main place to be when it comes to updates, especially regarding the Sync School and all the other things that we have coming up. It is at the Sync Center on Instagram and most other places as well. So definitely give us a follow there. Our DMs are open for questions. So if we didn't necessarily cover everything in this particular episode and you want something else covered, or you just want a little bit more of an explanation on something, obviously we're live now, so you can put it in the chat. But um, for future references, like I said, our DMs are definitely open. So yeah. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Sharing it out here too, Lexi. Give me 2 seconds and then
Awesome.
all right. All right. I think we're shared.
Pretty
So
cool.
Lexi, what was the sync school like for you?
Um, well, let's see. I would say the sing school for me was really enlightening in a lot of ways. For starters, it definitely made me realize how much I know and how much I still needed to learn and grow on, which it was a really nice, like rewarding environment for something like that because it
Hmm.
wasn't just, you know, me one on one realizing what I do and don't know. It was a nice,
Yeah.
like class environment for, continuous learning for everyone because everybody was at such different levels in this whole realm of sync and supervision. So it was really cool to be able to build on those relationships that I was already building on LinkedIn and then also being able to learn alongside everyone there and really you know I would say for me, it was really just a lot about learning firsthand,
Mhm.
because that was a lot of what I felt like I was lacking before coming to the Sync Center and everything along those lines. So, yeah, it was just a really great extension of that for
Yeah.
sure.
It was a good, I thought it was a good combination of people who do it every day and people who are kind of early,
Hmm.
starting out and really interested and passionate about it. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I thought it was a really good group. I thought the interactions and the projects were really good, and maybe we can rap about that some.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So one of the questions that I definitely wanted to get into, which I wanted to hear your perspective on,
Yeah.
was how you felt as though the Sync Center worked. So, the layout of, oh, sorry, I said the Sync Center, how you felt the Sync School worked and
Sure.
how the layout kind of bred creativity, how it bred learning,
Yeah.
um, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. I think the purpose of the sync school is to really train the next generation of supervisors, and to do it in a way that's really real world, no bullshit, just kind of like how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when we started out, we said there's kind of like three legs of the table. I think there was learning, just kind of learning about how it works. And then the actual strategy of managing music and media. And
Mm-hmm.
then lastly, how you execute it, how you do the day-to-day stuff.
Yep.
So I think those, because there's a lot of people that are really smart, like school smart, who don't have
Mm-hmm.
any strategy and who don't have any execution.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really important to have all three. You have to know your stuff, right? Then you have to have a strategy about how you go about it. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, I think, is just how you execute and how you do the work, how you communicate, how you manage projects, how you bring on new clients. I mean, that kind of stuff is it's all about kind of sustainability, like you're creating something that goes forward and is a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that that helped a lot with the project specifically because I know one of my favorite projects that we worked on, which just in case y'all don't know, there was a project every day. So at
Right.
the end of learning every day, there's a project that you work on to kind of reflect the learning that you did earlier that day. And also it's cumulative. So
Right. Yeah.
um, it builds on the information that you've not only learned that day, but also the information that you've learned throughout the week. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really like that about it. But one of my favorites projects was one of the like rescoring type projects that we did, particularly the second one, because I felt like with the first one, it was kind of just like a free for all.
Right. First one
Pick a
was
scene that
easy.
you, yeah, pick a scene that you like,
Right.
and you know, grab some music and make it work.
Right.
But then the
Easy
second
peasy.
one, yeah, I mean, and that's the
All
thing too. I mean, I feel like for me it was easy, but then getting feedback from other people throughout that project, they
right.
realized like, oh, this is actually like it's more difficult than I thought it was,
Yeah.
or um, it's easy in some aspects, but it's not easy in others. Like picking music was easy, but picking a scene wasn't, or something
Right.
like that. Deciding where the actual placement of music should go based
Right.
off of the scene.
Right. Right.
So that was really interesting to hear from people. But I felt like for me, the the beauty kind of was in the challenge of that second day where it was we had parameters, so
Right.
as opposed to just being able to, pick a scene, pick some music, make it work,
Yeah.
it was use the same scene you've already been working on, choose different music depending on what was it, the time frame I think you gave us. Um,
Decade. I
yeah,
think. I think
yeah, a
we
specific
picked a
decade.
decade and said, okay, now I guess let's maybe we should talk about like the first one. The first project was we picked. We have like 40 or 50 scenes without music, and so the first one was really easy. You get to pick either a feature film or one of project we've worked on, and it's super easy peasy. You it's about a 3-minute video, and you had to like pick the music to that video. The dialogue was all there, and each student kind of selected 2 or 3 pieces of music to complete that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then each day got a little bit more constraints, got a little more real budget constraints,
Mm-hmm.
decade constraints. Now, okay, we got to throw away everything we did day one and think about everything under 30,000 or less, because that's a real thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're doing that right now in a couple projects where, you know, the song we wanted originally wasn't available or out of our price. Now we got to kind of ratchet it down.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then we constrained it even further and say, okay, that's great. Now throw away that music and now pick something from 1974. Okay.
Yeah.
So it kind of got a little more specific, a little more targeted each
Right.
day.
Really,
Um,
really messing with, not messing with, but really like forcing you to have that mindset of these are the situations you may find yourself in,
right.
and having and understanding how you handle those situations, not just creatively, but also instinctively, whether that be, taking a breath, realizing, okay, like this isn't as easy as I thought, or, all right, I was going in this direction. I may need to go in a different direction
Right.
because it's not going to line up with whatever parameter I've been given. So yeah.
Yeah. Music replacement happens almost every project where you start out here and you want this song and you have to think of other options. So that's kind of how we framed the projects in the Sync School. We made them fun and collaborative, and there was great group feedback, but those are like real world scenarios that supervisors and people who manage music, have to do it professionally and think about options. Like you
Hmm.
can't say, no, those are the three songs I wanted, and I'm going to take my toys and go home. Well, that's not how it
Not
works,
going to work. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, those projects were good, and I wish one thing. I wish we had more time for the group feedback on the projects because the Sync School is only 5 days. We kind of had to book it a little bit to get through everything.
Hmm.
Um, but I wish we had more time just to watch and feedback on everybody's projects because they were really good.
Yeah, we
You
got
know?
some really, really good ones. Like, I mean, everybody's projects that the people who shared their projects and the people who just sent me like their project just to review. I mean, obviously we're all here for a reason,
Yeah.
but it was still really, really cool to see just the different how people were coming at it, even people who
Yes.
had the same, who were using the same scenes. Because even though, like you
Right.
said, we were given like what 30 to 40 different scenes to choose from, there were some overlaps, and just seeing the different directions that people took the same scenes was really, really cool to
It,
witness.
I agree 100%, Lexi, and it's inspiring too because just that diversity of how people approach it. We had
Hmm.
people from all over the globe on there, and it was just, it was cool how
Hmm.
people what their instincts and their intuition was. Like I would approach it like this. There were some classical kind of orchestral approaches, some techno approaches. Um,
Yeah.
all of them were good. It's just a question of options. Like, how do you bring optionality to the project? Because, you don't just want to come with like, okay, this is it. It's done. My job's done here. I'm out. It's like, okay, here's
Right.
6 different approaches. Um, let's consider each one, as how it serves the film. So,
Hmm. Yeah, I thought that was super cool. But actually, you kind of touched on a good point that I wanted to bring up as well. Was so we had, like you said, we had a lot of different people coming in with different experiences and with different backgrounds. Um, and there was one quote in particular that I wanted to read that someone sent to us in regards to their um, their feelings about the Sync School and their feedback. Here, let me just pull this up real quick. Okay. So they said, are you ready, John? Are you ready for this? All
I'm
right. Talk about bang for your buck. I enrolled in the Sync School with zero knowledge of music supervision or the music business in general. Through the lectures and interactive workshops, I developed basic competencies, including but not limited to role responsibilities, workflow, relationship management, song selection and replacement, negotiation, contracting, and securing a project.
wow.
I'd highly suggest the Sync School for aspiring music supervisors or anyone looking to gain a working knowledge of the sync industry. Thank you, John and Lexi.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like such a well-rounded, awesome review, and I was just like,
Yeah.
wow, like our job is done. Like we
Right.
did it, you know, but also obviously, we're always looking to improve in any way we can. But I just felt as though that piece of feedback was just so um it just contributed so much to the overall spirit of the Sync School and what we're trying to accomplish here. Because he's right. He mentioned that like very early on, like day
Mm.
one. I'm pretty sure that he was really just interested in the whole world of supervision. He had
Right.
no idea really what he was getting himself into. He kind of just wanted to, he felt as though this was a great place for him to dip his toe in,
Yeah.
to learn, to learn amongst people, as opposed to just trying to constantly dig, read, learn,
Yeah.
find places to go. And this was just a one-stop shop, so to speak,
Yeah.
and so I felt like that was really, really cool of him to express that to us. And I just wanted to share that because I don't actually know if I ever shared that with you. So
I think I'd seen it on Instagram, but I hadn't.
I didn't even put the whole quote on
Yeah,
Instagram.
no, I
So
think that's
yeah.
fantastic, and I think that was kind of the hope and the intent. It was to create a safe place because I think he was kind of a newbie, right?
Hmm.
Coming out of
The
just
ultimate
great,
newbie.
ultimate newbie, right?
Hmm.
And so we wanted to create this collaborative 5 day training that was, for people that do it every day and want to get better and fill their gaps, and then for people who are passionate about music and kind of newish in this.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean that's a fantastic quote. So
Yeah. Shout out Kyle again. You're
yes,
awesome. Yeah, but we got, like I said, we got plenty of feedback from people, but I know that when it came to we're getting towards the end and people are really starting to realize like, oh, like I can do this. Like
yeah,
this is doable. This is something that I thought I'd be good at. And this is kind of how I felt as well. Like this is something that I knew I could do, but it feels different actively doing it in a way, in a form like this,
right,
where it's low stakes, so to speak, but
yeah,
at the same time, you're still, realizing, like you said, your gaps and realizing where your pitfalls
yeah,
are and being able to have that safe space to be able to learn and grow amongst everyone else. Um, so I felt like when it came to the people who were in the first session who are now completed, I've been getting a lot of messages about people asking, hey, like, what's next,
right, right.
essentially. A lot of, hey, I loved the sing school. How
Mhm.
can I continue learning type vibe?
Yeah,
So I just wanted to touch on the continuation that we had talked
sure.
about, actually.
Yeah, I mean the 5 day training at the Sync School is really just like a deep dive in it. 5 days we're going to drink from the fire hose, and that, like you said, I mean there was a lot of like I feel like we just got started. How do we continue? So
Mhm.
since since the first group, you and I have kind of gone away and put our heads together. And should we talk about the music supervision community?
I'm down. I felt
Okay.
that that's where we're heading.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're I guess we're announcing it today, but we're starting a monthly community. We're calling it the Supervisor Sync community, and it's a music supervision community of people who are either doing this already every day or people who want to to do more of this. And
Mhm.
it's really three things. It's a monthly meeting group twice a month. It's interactive with all the members and it's collaborative. So if somebody has a project they're working on and they could use some hands on it, community members could say, hey, I'll raise my hand and I'll work on that with you. So it's really what we couldn't do in the sync school, we're doing now in the supervisor sync community to where we have more time. We're going to meet twice a month. There'll be training the first session, and then the second session will either be a review of the project earlier, or sorry, remind me to turn on notifications next time, Lexi. Um, or we'll bring in a guest friend who works in this space. So executive at Sony Tree or a friend who does trailers for Disney and Marvel and Star Wars. Invite them in to talk to the group in a real low spam, low ick environment. Um,
Yeah.
so that's what it is. We're going to be 2 meetings a month, and it's going to be fun. I think this is what we heard from people is like, hey, I want to continue this. I feel like we just started. Don't leave us
Hmm.
hanging. So this is kind of
Hmm.
our way of continuing the group in an ongoing kind of continuing ed kind of fashion.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. All the while kind of building on the sync community that we already created with the sync school.
Right.
Like, and I feel like when it comes to this particular community that we're building, there's just, I know you and I had mentioned this before, there's that space for like organic mentorships to be built
Right.
because you have so many different people from so many different walks of life within the business and within, um, experience levels, so that you can naturally, like you said, if someone has a project they're working on, hey, I could use some help on this, or hey, I'm looking for a song that matches this description. Does anyone, you know, have something that could work for this?
Yes.
Or, that way you can get that real world experience with projects that are really happening, but also you're building those relationships that we've talked about so
Yep.
many times are so important in
Yeah.
this business. So,
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right, Lex. And it's like, if the sync school was the foundation, then these are the houses that we're building on the foundation in the
mhm,
supervisor sync community.
mhm,
So yeah, I think it's going to be a ton of fun, and it'll allow us to maybe step back and take a deep breath and not have to get everything done in one day, because we know in 2 weeks we're coming back with another session, and we'll be able to continue that thread.
mhm.
Um, and I'd say too, it's meant to be kind of open sourced in a way. Like if somebody's really um, passionate about film trailers or metadata, or parts of the sync world, um, we can bring in somebody from DDEX to talk about metadata. We can bring in the head of Universal to talk about how they manage their flow.
Mhm.
It's I want to keep it like professionalized in a way. Like
Right.
we're not spamming each other with our SoundCloud links. It's like, I'm working on this. Here's the project. I'd love some feedback from you. Oh, and if anybody wants to work on this and assist me, I can use some hands. That kind
Mhm.
of thing. It
Mhm.
kind of breeds credibility and authenticness, rather than,
Yeah.
you know, other ways.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so I know one of the main things that I feel like we'll probably get a lot of, so I'm just gonna nip it in the bud right
yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
is to just say, what do you think are the main differences between the sync school and the supervisor sync community, aside from, one being a 5 day and one being a twice a month
Yeah.
situation?
No, that's a great question. And I think visually a lot. And so, I think the foundation has to be there. So the sync school is kind of that foundation,
Mhm.
and the supervisor sync community is that ongoing, piece to the equation. It's How are they different? Yeah, I mean, the sync school is all about essentials, like how music works, deal review, becoming hireable, music replacement, the blocking and tackling
Mhm.
protein of music supervision, right?
Mhm.
And so maybe the supervisor sync community is that long tail, that threaded thing of, hey, I'm working in sync already, but I want to get better, or
Mhm.
I can do X, Y, and Z, but my gaps are over here, A, B, and C. So it's a way to fill your gaps. Because like you've said a couple times, it's like, I thought I had to know everything. And it's like
Mhm.
you don't have to know everything. You just have to get working,
Right.
and then
Right.
backfill the gaps as you're able. Or
Right.
maybe you don't. I mean, it's like you can't be everything to all people. Um,
Mhm.
so, you kind of just get in your lane and find your lane, and lock arms with other people who have those strengths.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's kind of how it's different. The sync school is really just essentials. Like you have to be able to understand music and to replace music and to kind of speak to filmmakers and pitch yourself and do the work with clients.
Mhm.
Um, the essentials. And that
Yeah.
was something I loved about the sync school. Maybe we'll do some more of that in the supervisor sync community, is the workshopping where we role play. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I,
That was a
I,
really
I
that
think
was a
that's,
really good exercise.
at first people were like really hesitant, like, I don't want to do this, or I'm awkward, or I don't want to. Basically what we were doing, we were role playing client conversations. Like,
Hmm.
you're the music supervisor, I'm the filmmaker. Let's role play that conversation for 4 minutes, and get some friendly fire and some feedback in on that
Hmm.
conversation. Because
Hmm.
one of the things that came out of that I thought was really important was like, look, we can either do this now in a private setting, safe setting, or you can do this a year from now.
Right. For the first time
Which
ever, not
which do you want to
knowing
do?
what, yeah, not knowing what
Yeah,
to say or
yeah.
how to
It's
rebut certain things. And
it's
yeah.
better to do it now and get feedback and input from people that care about you than it is to go out in the wild and screw up your first dozen of those conversations, which is what we did back in the 90s when we didn't know what we were doing. But those role playing conversations are really important, because as a supervisor, you've got to put your filmmaker or your ad executive at ease. You have to
Hmm.
really show him or her like, look, you found the right place. We've done this a zillion times. We know
Know
what
what
we,
we're doing.
yeah.
Hmm.
And that it's not sales, but it's really just more of like client management. Um,
Hmm.
it's
All of
important.
which we talk about in the
Yeah.
sync school. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like what you said about the sync school being the essentials.
Right.
It's like the sync school is the essentials. It's kind of putting your putting your toe in the water, helping you realize what all you need or what all you there is for you to learn. And then the supervisor sync community is kind of just an extension of that, where you're actually doing the things that you learned about in the sync school.
Yeah.
um, and it's providing that community so that you don't necessarily always have to outsource, way beyond the realms of people, or talk to people, friends of friends, or things of that nature. You can go to a space where you can specifically say, hey, I
Yeah.
already know this is a group of people who are high protein people who know what they're doing, or are
Yeah.
serious in this field. It's a exclusive type of community where you want to make sure that everyone there, um,
Yeah.
is about it. You
Right.
don't want
Right.
people, like you said, we're not sending each other SoundCloud links or things of that nature. Or I should say, not spamming each other's SoundCloud
Yeah.
links.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you need a SoundCloud link, we got you. But um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
just
that's the difference for me, Tiff, is like, maybe in the sync school, people are passionate about music and their passion drives the day. In the sync community, it's more about professionalizing that. Yes, we're all passionate about music. That's kind of table stakes, right? But this is
mhm,
about professionalizing it and really filling those gaps around what you're doing.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's going
I
to be fun.
know, yeah, I was gonna say, I know I'm really excited to really jump into that. I know for starters, we are doing kind of a first come, first serve to the people who have already graduated the sync school program. So if you're watching this, either if you're watching it live or you're watching it later on, you should be expecting an email very soon just to give you kind of a rundown, whatever we didn't cover.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. But then also, we'll be definitely letting everyone else know in very shortly in the coming weeks, just to let you know, and so that you have the information, you can do with it what you please. We
Yeah.
just know that we want to be a resource, as
Mhm.
always, as we've said before on many help desk episodes. We want to help. That's what we're here to do. And in this situation, we're definitely here to help our aspiring music supervisors, because, like you said before, John, we definitely want to help build that community and to
Yeah.
really, create space.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
100%. And that, I mean, I think that's really the impetus of this, Lex, as we've talked about this over the months now. It's like there's a lot of groups out there and blogs and communities where it's just kind of, have you ever heard the phrase, the blind leading the naked? Everybody's
No.
kind of starting out and nobody really knows where, nobody's really done anything in the real world. And they're
Mhm.
just kind of, there's a lot of opinions and a lot of newbies. So this is meant to maybe avoid some of that, hey, I'm just starting out, and really go to more of a meat and potatoes kind of environment.
Mhm.
Because I think you graduate, you can, like you've said 100 times, the internet's awesome, but it's a wide, deep and wide place where everybody's opinion
Mhm.
is accepted, but they're not equal. Like, after we've done this
Mhm.
1,000 times, you know, we're able to, our hindsight can be your foresight in a
Mhm.
sense. So
Yeah.
that's, it's meat and potatoes for people that are eager to jump in and professionalize what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I don't have anything else for me to really talk about. I know we covered a whole lot, and I know that I'm definitely grateful for you being here to talk about this because
Of
I know
course.
that there were a lot of people who were they were a little like sad that they didn't make it um in the first session, and
Yeah.
there were a lot of people asking like, oh, are you guys going to do this again? Like, I would love to do it, but the time doesn't work for me,
Right.
or that particular week is just not good. Like, so yeah, we're definitely doing it again. We had great reviews
Yeah.
like the one that I read earlier. We had a really fun time, and we, like you said, we spent some time after like just going over everything and what worked and what could work better. And we're really excited to
Yeah.
share this next session with y'all. The date will be released very soon. Like I said, definitely follow us on Instagram. That's where most of those updates will be held. And yeah, do you have anything else to add, John?
Are we sharing out the waitlist link below
Good.
where people can,
Good on you.
we are, okay.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, there is a waitlist link for the next session. The waitlist link will be on Facebook somewhere in the either in the comments of this video, or we'll do a separate post just to I'll have it, put it in the link in our bio as well on all other socials. Um, but yeah, so if you are interested in the sync school, the next session, it will be later on this summer. Definitely add your name to the wait list. This
Yeah.
is also going to be a limited availability course similar to the last one, so you definitely don't want to wait.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
yeah, so yeah, waitlist link will be up very shortly, and I am so excited. I can't wait to
It's
see
going to be
you
fun.
there. It's gonna be a really good time.
Yeah.
And like I said, to anybody who already graduated, hit me up about the Supervisor Sync community. Like I said, we'll be sharing everything out, and you should get an email. But if you do have any other questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out, and I will definitely help you out.
Awesome. Lexi, thank you so
Awesome.
much. This was
Yeah, no
great talking about
problem.
this.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.